Right now, on to the point. The redistricting battle taking center stage at the state capitol.
Lawmakers go head-to-head at the Capitol this morning as they heard the legislative package for redistricting for the first time. Hear both sides and how voters are responding.
A packed rally at the Capitol opposing a bill aimed to help children of immigrant parents, why some are calling it legal kidnapping.
If something is harming our children, then you should be able to speak up about it.
A family search for answers uncovers a troubling pattern, all in ABC 10's years-long investigation, hidden homicides fighting for answers.
I never thought someone would abuse the power of religion.
Good evening. As always, thank you so much for joining us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell, and you already know we're starting with the redistricting battle at the state capitol because tensions flared this morning as lawmakers took their first look at the legislative redistricting package. With the Thursday deadline looming, the legislature faces a race against the clock to pass the bills in order to call a special election for November 4th. I want to bring in ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen. She was inside the hearings and has all the details. And Jeannie, it was a heated debate, to say the least.
That's right, Alex. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are feeling the heat as the deadline approaches, and that tension was on full display during this morning's Assembly Elections Committee hearing. The chair and vice chair clashed repeatedly, struggling to find common ground in what was an hours-long debate.
Okay, all right, excuse me, we're gonna,
I'm asking for.
We're gonna stop this right now.
For the first time on Tuesday morning, the Assembly Committee on Elections gathered to hear the legislative package in regards to redistricting.
We are focusing on transparency and ensuring voters have the final say on whether to enact temporary adjustments to our congressional districts.
The three bills, if passed, would call a special election on November 4th, ask the voters to temporarily bypass the nonpartisan redistricting committee, and replace existing maps with the proposed maps by the legislature for the next 3 election cycles.
Madam Chair, I motion to adjourn.
Republican Assembly member Alexandra Macedo tried to stop the meeting only to be turned down by her Democratic colleagues. Republican Assembly member David Tongipa then tried to present amendments to the bill.
Shall not be a candidate for congressional office in any congressional district adopted pursuant Section 4.
The proposed amendments were denied.
Don't sit here and play games. When on April 9th, 2025, when AB 1441 was before you by Soria, which directed the County of Merced to establish an independent Citizens Redistricting Commission to ensure fairly drawn districts that take into account demographics and communities of interest, when the Republicans on this committee voted no.
Leading to multiple tense exchanges where Tongipa opened up about his sister's health struggles.
Mr. Tongipa, you have been asked to stop. We are done
Mr. Berman,
with the questions and the deliberation of this measure.
Special election is more important than Californians.
Mr. Tongipa, you're out of order.
Still emotional outside the hearing, Tongipa expressed his frustrations with the process.
I can't get an hour to ask questions for that. That's not worth it. To the state of California, that's not worth it.
Dozens of voters showed up to the hearing to voice their support and opposition. In response, Republicans in the Assembly and Senate have filed an emergency lawsuit asking the California Supreme Court to immediately stop this redistricting attempt.
I believe the law is on our side and that the judicial branch of government will play their very important role here to ensure that there is due process under the law.
Once again, lawmakers have until the end of this week to pass these bills in order to call a special election. ABC 10 tried reaching out to Democrat Assemblymember Gail Pellerin, who is also the chair of that elections committee, for comment, but we did not get a response. Alex.
All right, Jeannie, thank you for that update. Also happening at the state capitol today, a protest against Assembly Bill 495. It is meant to allow non-family members to bypass a court process to take guardianship of children of detained migrant parents. People opposed to the bill say it takes away parental rights and creates legal loopholes, making child kidnapping easy.
Whenever we have proposed bills, we need language that is specific. So when it's vague, that means anybody can go in to be a guardian, right? So right now, the current law says, okay, you need to have evidence that you're a child's guardian.
The bill has been placed in the suspense file, which means it is undergoing further scrutiny. Another bill getting attention today would phase out ultra-processed foods from school meals in California. It's a first-in-the-nation legislation that has bipartisan support. Educators and health experts gathered today to help support Assembly Bill 1264.
This bill is based on a common sense premise that our schools should not be serving students products that are filled with dangerous additives that can harm their physical or mental health or interfere with their ability to learn.
The Senate Appropriations Committee is expected to vote on the bill next week. Still ahead on To the Point, a years-long ABC 10 investigation, hidden homicides, how a family search for truth led to a much larger mystery.
And things are going to get a whole lot warmer by the end of this week. We've got a weather impact alert Thursday through Saturday. Warm mornings and warm afternoons. I've got the details after the break.
All right, let's get a check of your forecast. Things were seasonal today, but Brendan, they are definitely going to be warming up as we get into the later part of the week, right?
Yeah, that's right. And that's why we've got that weather impact alert. 91 today, but we're going to be talking about 101 by the end of the week. 93 in Stockton, 92 in Modesto, 84 Placerville, 88 in Jackson, 80 in South Lake Tahoe, 81 up in Truckee this afternoon. Still in the upper 80s and low 90s in the valley. 90 right now in Sacramento, 90 in Stockton, 91 Modesto, mid to upper 70s still in the Sierra. Delta breeze 10 to 15 miles per hour right now, closer to 20 out through Vacaville and Fairfield. That'll be the case through the next few hours. We'll keep that breeze around. Fairly seasonal morning as well. We're going to be in those upper 50s to about 60 degrees to start Wednesday morning, but Wednesday afternoon will be noticeably warmer. We're talking about upper 90s to low hundreds across the valley, and that's going to get even warmer by the time we get to Thursday and Friday. So there's a lot of heat alerts across the state of California. Up here in Northern California, a lot of us are under a heat advisory, which begins on Friday. High temperatures 95 to 106 degrees, but also low temperatures. So your morning temperature is going to be in the mid to upper 60s to almost 70 degrees, and that'll be especially the case for areas away from the Delta that get minimal breeze, and that means minimal cooling through the overnight hours. Even hotter down in Southern California, where we have those extreme heat warnings in place. There's also a red flag warning for the Santa Monica Mountains by the end of this week. Up here, though, weather impact alert Thursday through Saturday for the valley and foothills due to those temperatures. Again, morning temps 65 to 70, afternoon temps 100 to 105 degrees. Important to keep cool, take breaks in the air conditioning, wear sunscreen, and drink water. And it's all because of this high pressure building in, but it's also going to bring some monsoonal moisture to the high country by the time we get to the weekend and the start of next week. You see all the showers and some thunderstorm potential as well, starting on Saturday and continuing into the middle of next week. So that's something we'll be tracking for the Sierra. Could see some fire danger. Highs in the low triple digits, about 101, 102 Thursday, Friday. It does get a little cooler into the weekend, but still, we're going to have that weather impact alert through Saturday, Alex.
All right, Brendan, thank you. After the break, deaths ruled suicides now under question. An ABC 10 investigation, hidden homicides, reveals documents and evidence raising new doubts. Tonight, a new ABC 10 investigation into deaths ruled as suicides that may actually be homicides. Forensic pathologists, domestic violence experts, and law enforcement insiders all have a grave warning. These cases are slipping through the system, and killers could be walking free. ABC 10's Hidden Homicides, Fighting for Answers, investigates these deaths and questions if families are being denied justice. Investigative reporter Andy Judson has spent 2 years on this reporting, and she joins us right now.
Yeah, Alex, what started with one case quickly turned into a national problem. We found patterns in suspicious deaths, overlooked evidence, and families still desperate for answers. Experts told us many of these cases deserve justice and how some were never properly investigated at all. Tonight in episode 1, we introduced Joanna's story. She was found hanging in her closet. Authorities called it a suicide. But for 14 years, her family has believed something much more sinister happened.
911, what's your emergency?
I think someone's dead.
What do you see?
My pastor just came out of his house. He's really, really upset, and he told me to call the cops. And he thinks his wife's dead. It's really hard.
Why? Do we know what happened to her?
No, we don't. He's walking. He can't.
Can I talk to him?
No, he just walked around the corner. He's really stressed out right now.
Okay, but I need to know if you think somebody did this, like it was a medical issue, or, I mean, did somebody kill her?
14 years later, this question remains.
And that was Joanna playing at the playground, and you can see just this sweet, sweet smile. And this is one of my favorite photos of Joanna.
Patricia Hunter will tell you Joanna, her firstborn, was made from the very best parts of her and her husband.
Just so much laughter. If you look at pictures of Joanna, you would just see her laughing.
Hey, Joanna.
Don't. I don't have much to say right now. We're back.
I mean, the joy that she brought to our lives, especially the relationship she had with Joseph.
Joe Jr., Joanna's little brother.
Our relationship was one that she could tell me anything, I could tell her anything, and we had a fierce protection of each other as well. She was just bright. She had a huge light. That's the best way to describe her.
Hi. But that all stopped when she met Mark. Just stopped.
Mark Wayne Lewis. For longtime Vacaville locals, the name might ring a bell.
The pastor of Fellowship Baptist Church is back on the pulpit this Sunday after being arrested on arson charges.
But back in the early 90s, he was just a boy in high school who caught Joanna's eye.
Joanna hadn't dated at all, so this was a surprise for us.
At the time, to be honest, we were excited.
Excited for her first love, a high school sweetheart. Then, they say, Joanna started changing.
I noticed an immediate distance between us, which was unique, pretty quickly on into it.
Her grades started dropping.
I just thought, what's going on? It just didn't seem like her.
I started seeing bruises on her face, and she would say, oh, I hit something, I fell, very early on. And it became obvious that he was abusing her.
A pattern of abuse that spanned years, from high school, her family says, and continuing years after, court records show.
The best way to describe it was hell.
In 1995 and 1996, Joanna requested restraining orders against Mark at least 3 times, court records show, describing abuse like being hung up on the wall, choked, slapped, punched, kicked, thrown, and badly beaten up by Mark.
He slashed the tires on our car. He threatened to kill us because we were trying to get her away from him.
Joanna wrote in court records that Mark made other threats, like telling her he is capable of doing a lot more than I could ever imagine. In 1996, Joanna was taken to the emergency room, hospital records show. And court filings by his attorney show in 1997, Mark was convicted of a felony for domestic violence.
And she went to visit him in jail, and he said he had been born again.
Born again, a spiritual rebirth in the Christian faith. Patricia says he promised Joanna,
and he would not do that again to her. And she was going to get back to him after he got out. I was devastated.
Records show Joanna later had a restraining order dismissed.
And it's such a complicated question, but why do you think she kept going back?
It's part of the cycle for victims of domestic violence. And when you are with someone who's such a manipulator, he was an expert at convincing her that what happened was her fault.
Joanna and Mark stayed together and eventually moved in together, her family says. ABC 10 repeatedly reached out to Mark over several months by email, phone, and mailed letters. He never responded. Joanna's family believes abuse continued after she and Mark moved in together, and he used religion to manipulate her.
It may be a blessing to be here, but our job is to bless God while we're here.
Mark became pastor of Vacaville's Fellowship Baptist Church.
And that as a pastor, that he talked to God a lot, and that we don't break up, and that couples don't split.
Her family says Joanna became more and more isolated from them.
He had slowly pulled her into the church community only.
Especially after marrying Mark in 2000.
They had a full wedding. My mom didn't know, I didn't know, my dad didn't know. Full wedding.
When they get into these cult-like religions that just latch on to you, you're blocked from people who love you, from other voices.
Joanna's family was worried they were losing her to Mark in the church. And former church leaders say she was not the only one.
I mean, there's a lot of friendships that, I ended prematurely, and a lot of time that I lost with family based around, hey, I'm trying to get the approval and the acceptance of this man.
They go as far as calling it a cult.
But I do. I tell people I was in a cult. I was a cult leader,
Just like any kind of cult or cult-like place, you don't really see it when you're in it. But looking back, absolutely, I can 100% see where he can manipulate the Bible.
Jacob Cantrell and Mitchell Lamar say they were in Mark's inner circle.
I was the assistant pastor.
I was one of his right-hand men.
While the church now has new leadership and a new name, back then, seclusion within it was how Mark gained control, they say, even of them.
He was that approval that I was doing right in the eyes of God.
100%, I think it was the power, being able to basically be the puppet master of everybody's lives.
There weren't many decisions in my life that weren't controlled by him.
And who bore the brunt of his control? Joanna, they say, calling it abusive.
Spiritual, mentally, emotionally, 100%.
I felt if I couldn't get her out alive, I'd have to live with that the rest of my life.
Can I get an ambulance to respond and stage on an unknown medical? Fellowship Baptist Church.
On October 6, 2011, Mark told law enforcement he found Joanna hanging in their closet.
Hello? Mark? Yes. Hi, I have fire and ambulance and the police on the way. Can you tell me what happened?
I have no clue what happened.
Law enforcement says it was a suicide.
There was no evidence that suggests any foul play with the death.
Her family is certain Joanna's life was taken from her.
I know that someone took her life. I know that.
Some experts agree, saying her case checks every box of a suspicious death.
Those cases are always a homicide. Always.
And then the suitcase.
There was an open suitcase near her. She was coming home.
Was Joanna leaving? Her family thinks so.
What do you believe happened to Joanna?
She said, I'm done. I'm going home.
That's next on Hidden Homicides.
What really happened the day Joanna died? Where was Mark? And what do experts say investigators missed? In episode 2, we break down the timeline, the gaps, and the critical questions that went unasked. Alex.
And this is just the start. Watch the full 6-part investigation right now on the ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. Go to News, then Investigations, and click Hidden Homicides, Fighting for Answers. We're back right after this. All right, as we continue to focus on California's redistricting plan, I want to mention that tomorrow the package of redistricting bills goes to the Appropriations Committee. The bills need to pass by the end of the week in order for the state to hold a special election on November 4th. Now, as we continue to follow this very closely, we know it's a fluid situation. We know that you at home might have questions. So don't forget, you can always check out our ABC 10 TV streaming app to catch up on the latest, or go to abc10.com to see the maps and look at any questions that you might have. Thank you for joining us. I'll see you tomorrow.